Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see. Hit like, subscribe, tell me what you're doing, stitching-wise or crafting-wise or whatever it is. I love to hear it. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. All right, I am filming in a new... Obviously, we don't have my normal floss things right here. I figured while the tree was up, I would film on the other side of the crafting room, but I almost took the tree out trying to figure out where I was sitting, even though I filmed one of my Flossmas videos here. So I'm still working out the, the actual positioning of it, and it'll probably be different every week until Christmas because I've kind of built myself into... I've hemmed myself in. There's literally no way for me to get out unless I literally push everything away because I have a couple tables and the camera lifted up and of course the tree, which again, almost took a spill. So we're just giving this a try and see what happens. It's the holiday season. We're just going for it. You can see I'm going to keep pulling up my sleeves because as usual, I'm feeling a little bit warm this morning, but I wanted to wear some of my Christmas sweaters for the December videos, so I pulled them out and we'll just I need a fan is what I need. Speaking of December and Christmas videos, I put out, I think it was Tuesday, that I put out a second Flossmas video, and that was my scrapbook flip through. And so I took my 3 scrapbooks, what I have for layouts so far with all of my stitching full finishes, and I went through and I showed you each and every one. And I want to say thank you so much for all of the positive feedback from that. It doesn't happen often, but I do get negative feedback for scrapbooking my stitches. People feel very strongly that I'm not supposed to do that. It's my hobby, so I love doing it and I will do it, but everybody was super respectful and in fact, really warm and welcoming to the idea. So I want to thank you for that, being open to seeing it, watching it, and, you know, not being cross-stitch police. So thank you. And if you haven't seen it, but you are interested in a completely different way of finishing, full finishing some of your projects, then it's part, if you don't see it in just the regular list, if you're watching this a little bit later, I do have a playlist for scrapbooking stitches and it will be in that playlist. All right, so let's get started with our projects. I have a decent amount, but we're gonna try to keep kind of moving today just because I know if the rest of you are like me, I have this long list of videos to watch and it keeps getting longer. And we haven't even started 100% with all the plans and parade videos yet. So you know in a couple weeks, it's just gonna explode and everybody's queue for videos is gonna get really long. So again, because I'm sitting in a different spot, normally I have a specific way I hold things up, but we're just gonna play around and see what happens today. I guess I'll go this way. That makes sense. I think that's what I did with the scrapbook pages. So my first project is Christmas Eve, and it is from Prairie Schooler. I pulled this out as part of Scattergories for Whip Warriors December Scattergories event. I believe that Whip Warriors has now been closed. It's a closed group for 11 months and a week out of the year. Excuse me. I've already been grocery shopping and everything this morning, so I need some tea to pick me up. But I believe I just saw that they closed it. So they keep it open for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It depends on how many people join, I think, too. And then they close it until the next November. So at this point, if you're haven't joined the group, it will open again at the end of next year. And I'll let you know in plenty of time because they let us know. So if you are interested, you can kind of check out. There's lots of other groups that do play games as well, kind of, and so on and so forth. But I will be talking about them in some points during my videos over the year because that's how I get some of my work done. But anyway, the letter was C, and I use this for holiday, and so I use the word Christmas. And honestly, this really needs work. It's been sitting around for a little while, so it could use a little bit of work. Oh, now see, this is the angle. You don't really need to see that, do you? I'm going to just cover myself probably because I'm more used to doing it this way. So this right here is where I am. This is 18 count and it is Chinchilla by Mystic Fabrics. And I love it. I am not sure. Let me see. The called for the snow. Oh, they actually do call for white. What's funny is in my bag, I have white and I have B5200 and I have no clue what some of these were stitched in. So you might see some variations in white on this, but you know what? We can just pretend that I used like a variegated over dyed white. So that's what it looks like. I did change Santa's face. I always change faces on Prairie Schoolers because I'm not a huge fan of the mauve face. If you want to stay, you know, true to form, that's great. I just prefer, and I don't always do the same change. What I do is I use whatever fabric I'm using and I use that as a guide. I don't know if I have notes right here that can tell you what this face is. Let me see if I pull out my working copy. I always make working copies. 842 I used for this Santa. But I have now, since, you know, as you evolve, you kind of learn what works for you. And I now make working copies on all of my pieces. And I cross off as I go. And that's how I count, since I don't use digital, rarely use digital. So that's where we are. So we're getting ready to do, actually, you can see right here, there's a little teeny tiny part of a reindeer. And, oh, the other change that I did make, let me show you here. If you'll notice at the bottom, it has a whole bunch of words. Oh yeah, this angle, I'm gonna have to learn what I'm doing here. I tried them. I tried it in the called for, then I changed it to a different color, and then I just ended up saying, you know what? I'm not loving it anyway like that, so I'm just gonna do, this is gonna be straight snow all the way across, which is gonna be a great fill-in for Zooms or watching a movie or traveling or whatever. So at some point that will be, I'm doing it a little bit as I go, so I don't have all of it to do. And sometimes it's a nice, I don't really want to think kind of thing. So I'll do like a strand or two. But we do have the village, you know, with the houses, a few more houses, some more trees, a tree. That tree is done, even though it looks like that. I am not necessarily, the houses here show, the chimneys have some smoke coming out of them. I'm going to do it without that, and I'm going to see what it looks like, and I might just keep it like that because I'm liking the look as it is, and so I'm not sure if I want to add. Okay, I have an extra table here because there's a table here that's right next to where I sit in a recliner if I want to stitch reclining, and so it's perfect. So now I have 3 things to kind of, you know, put around me here. So if that's not enough of all my stuff, I don't know what to do then. Okay, here we go. This next one is Imprints. It's Fa La La and Mary. And I worked on and finished this one right here. I started it and finished it, I believe. Or had I started it last week? I don't remember. Maybe I had, and I hadn't gotten a lot done. I don't know about you, but December, I can't seem to keep track of what week from the next. It just seems to be flying. So there's my teeny tiny. This is done on an 18 count. It's 18 count Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. It's smaller than I thought it would be, which, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is the actual pattern. So, you know, I mean, I definitely need more on this tree, and I have probably about 4 or 5 Prairie Schoolers that need to be fully finished, but next year is my year of fully finishing. So this year's tree, I have stitching on it, of course, you can see like right here, but then I also have glitter balls that I've made over the years. This is these are stamped over here, ornaments. I have an ornament, oh, you won't be able to see down here, that was made for me. Here we have another stitched one, so on and so forth. So this tree, obviously, look at it. It needs stuff. So I was hoping that this, and then I was going to do the other one. Whether or not I do that this year, though, at this point, I might not. That might wait till next year. I was going to do them for this tree, And maybe I still will, because I have one of those Hirschner trees, the black ones, and it's getting kind of full. So maybe I start transferring some of the smaller ones and fill in some of the spots on this big tree, because I like doing small ornaments too. So we'll have to figure that out. But super quick, if you were looking for something quick and fairly easy, it was 2 colors. And I even messed up and had to frog some of the stuff out, and I still ended up getting it finished. And I did use the called for? Yes, I did. I used the called for colors, the DMCs. It's charted also in weeks that works, but I think the DMCs look quite nice. And I do like those colors on that green. So, yeah, so I have a little finish. Alrighty. And in theory, I that could be fully finished, but the next couple weeks are going to be pretty busy, and I'm really not sure I'm going to get to it. So I think at this point, I might leave my fully finishing for next year. I mean, I have 55 things I have to fully finish, right? Alrighty, so this next one is a digital, and where is it? I'm going to show you the set of 3 first. I pulled out one of my gnomes. So this is the set of 3 gnomes from, I call them winter gnomes. I don't know the official titles of these. Wonderstitch UA has all the different sets of gnomes. And if you really love them, I just noticed that you can actually get, for whatever amount of money, all of them, all of the gnomes, all the sets. And, you know, they have sales quite often, so you could actually get all of them for a pretty decent price. This is the one I am stitching. And if you watch Georgia Girl Stitching, Megan is stitching this one as well, I think, because I'm almost sure I remember seeing the flower, or her talking about the flower. I can't remember. I am not, and if you have to go see, she's done well, you don't have to, but I would recommend you go watch her. She has a parade. She's talked about her plans for next year. So she's gotten all sorts of fun videos out recently, and I really enjoyed them. So maybe you will do. I'm not doing this background right here. I've been using fabrics that kind of add to the pieces for the gnomes, and I won't do the grounding circle either. And here we go. Now this gnome is done on a sparkle, and I don't know if you will see the sparkle. This is 18 count. It's an opal, and it's called Hourglass Nebula from Fortnight Fabrics. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I did one of their fabric of the month clubs. I did 2. And this one I did, I think it was like 1/8 of a yard opals. And so I got a bunch of cute little, I mean, that's the size of it, but it's perfect for this gnome. I might even have a little extra here at the bottom. I don't remember, but they're cute little sizes, and it was a way for me to get some opals. But that is what it looks like. I ended up kind of bringing the hat around this way, and then I've also been working more on the flower. I was a little concerned on this fabric if the flower would show up. My idea was, if it didn't, I would do a very light, maybe like a light gray or light blue or something that would kind of mix in with this fabric or within this design, and do a little bit of backstitching around that edge. But looking at it here, I don't think I need to. And that was my other thought. Once this is all filled in, there's only one corner of the flower that won't have something darker surrounding it. And so I think it should be okay. But I'm happy looking at it right here, because I was a little worried about that. So that makes me feel a little bit better. So I just pulled this out. I wasn't sure the night we were going to watch a movie. Mo and I had it all set, and we didn't last very long. We were expecting more out of the movie than we were getting, so we ended up turning it off. So I did not get a full movie's worth out of that stitch. I think we didn't like it in the end, so I don't remember what we watched, but I got some good stitching time on it. All right, next. This is my December's Holly from Cottage Garden Samplings, and I am happy that I am redoing the words, but I've realized that by giving myself that extra work, this piece will not be done by the end of this month. And you can see I still even haven't gotten all the stuff out yet. So that's what it looks like. I think partly because I've been bringing it up close. That's why. If I go backwards, I can show it a little bit easier, and then I'll come forward. So at a distance, that's what it looks like. And if I come forward, you can see right here, down here, these letters I have to pull out. I pulled these out, and I'm trying, if I look at it, no, I think that was all I pulled out. But gosh, they take forever. I really stitched these tightly in, and there was a lot of stopping and starting. So, you know, there's tails tucked under, so it's a little bit harder to pull out. And I didn't add any more here. This is a variegated, I want to say it's like 150, DMC 115 is what that will be. And so there'll be different shades of red, but it'll just be all red. I wasn't necessarily loving the yellow there. Besides that, I did stitch the little bird up here. So that part is done, that corner top is done. Then we'll come down with some snowflakes here. And then I did finish, let's see if I can show him. See the little snowman? I finished him as well. And I did have to, I thought I had stitched something wrong. I was in that frogging mood, right? And I ended up pulling out part of the scarf, and then I realized there was 2 colors. And that I'd pulled out something I didn't have to pull out. So, you know, luckily it was small. So that's the part that I stitched as well. So this is what it looks like. 18 count. Oh, where's my list here? Honeydew Melon from To Die For Fabrics. And that's what that is. I will keep trying. Today's December 15th. So I still have half a month, but pulling out that stuff and then, you know, going back and redoing. And I mean, I still have a decent amount down here as well to go besides the letters and stuff. So I'm not, and I'm not putting the pressure on myself, but I'm pretty sure that's not getting done this year. It's all right. There's always next year. And I'm, I'm like elbowing the tree. We might on video have this whole thing just go flying. Oh boy, that would only be me. Really? Okay, let me see next. Oh, I could have sworn I didn't add it. I must not have added it to my folder. My next is my full coverage piece. So this is Hidden Harbor. It is artwork by Andy Russell, and it was charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this, I picked this one out. This is one of the first Heaven and Earth Designs that I chose before I started choosing more minis. Now, this one's kind of like an in-between. It's not crazy, crazy big like some of the other ones. And, you know, it's not small either. I don't know, maybe 400 by something. I'm going to hold back for a second here. That's all of it. And I purposely actually did come across because I realized I had goofed and I was really worried I was going to run out of space. But as you can see, I have a decent amount, and this is the edge that's like kind of the, is that called the selvage? So it won't fray actually on me, which is even better. But that's what I have in total. I'll show this side first because I did the tiniest bit. So getting back to the fact that this is one of the first Heaven and Earth side pulled out, and I did, and I mean, it wasn't the first full coverage I started, but it was near the beginning. So I was still learning how I like to do full coverage. And so I added a little bit over here this week. And I want to say I added around this way right here. As you can see, I pretty much stitch a lot of times however I want. I don't have any way specifically that I stitch. I stitch in hand, including the full coverages. So I can pretty much, sometimes that's helpful because I can go wherever, but sometimes it's not helpful because then I go wherever, right? And I don't have a set plan. And so I had stitched this little bit here that day, But when I had started this, I had even less of a plan and less of a planning idea than I do now. And so I'm finding it a little bit difficult to kind of decide what to stitch on those pieces. And I said, well, you know what? I did it the first day of my rotation. I try to do at least 100 stitches a day when I pull out a full coverage and try to get at least 1,000 on my piece. And so the second day I was looking at it. Oops, sorry, I think I hit my camera there. And I was trying to figure out what was the next color I was going to do. And honestly, I was kind of frustrating myself. So I said, you know what? We're going to come to this side. And by the time I had gotten across this way, I was getting a little bit better at just not going just all over directions, right? And it made more sense. So I've been slowly, and there's still a few pieces of confetti, but I've been slowly filling in the confetti and working my way. So down this way and down all of these, I've been picking colors and then working my way down that way. And it's made much more sense. I've felt so much better about the project because I was a little worried. Was I really going to just frustrate myself out of wanting to stitch this project? And it's beautiful. If you want to see it just being started, Sarah, Stitching Mommy, I believe, has started it. And if you want to see this section that I'm struggling with, a whole swath of it done, then you'd want to go watch Nicole, Stem X Stitch. I'll link everybody that I mentioned down below. Nicole has got quite a bit done. I'm not sure exactly. She knows like pages and percentages, and I want to say she uses digital versions, and it looks beautiful. And so within a week, I saw both Sarah and Nicole pulling it out, and I said, well, after my dragons, this was the next piece I pulled out. So that's what I did. And things are going to be a little bit crazy busy this week, most definitely. I think by the time I see you next week, even though that's coming up on Christmas weekend, I might be able to I might be going into kind of a chill. We're having a very, very quiet Christmas. And so that week is going to be really mellow, I think. And even Christmas is going to be really mellow. So by the time you see me next weekend or next Friday, kind of the busy, crazy part of December will be wrapping up, and then I will be able to kind of coast into the end of the end of the year. So my thought was, because it's going to be busy and I don't know how much time I will have for my full coverages, because there's more of a commitment with all the extra colors and everything, I am going to keep this one out, and I'm not going to start another one. Whether or not I keep this out for the entire rest of the year, that I don't know, but certainly for at least another week. I stitch my full coverages on 18 count white Aida. I do 2 strands over 1, and I do a full cross. So I think next week I will just continue pulling from here. I'm really enjoying that. Now there's not much done up across here, so I might be able to keep pulling this section and working that way. I mean, it's not, the only reason it's kind of a diagonal is because that's how it's been kind of charted. But I don't do the official diagonals kind of thing. Lots of full coverage stitchers do that, and so there's lots of ways for you to see how they do it if that's intriguing to you. I literally have no plan. I just kind of go for it. Alrighty, next. Let me go back into my folder that has my pictures for my videos. And so this next one is the start. I'm hoping it's not going to take me too long. So this is the full picture, and then I will make it a little smaller because I'm not stitching this whole piece. So it's exam week, so I don't think Connor's watching. But Connor, if you're watching, instead of studying for your exams, go study and stop watching now. Okay, so anyway, what am I doing? So each of my kids, I'm doing an ornament. And since Megan got a cat this year, we're doing something along those lines. Connor is our plant whisperer. So if any of us have trouble with plants, we call Connor. And so I said, well, wouldn't that be fun then maybe to stitch an ornament that's a plant? Because, you know, that's something that is enjoyable to them. So I had gotten this piece, and this is from, I think it's Happy Mood Point, but on Etsy, they're now called something like Daily Pattern Studio, I think. But when I printed it off, it still said Happy Mood Point on it. And I decided, because, you know, I was thinking, okay, I want to do something that's an ornament. I don't want something that's huge. Take out the stand, because that's really super easy just to stitch whatever those two colors are. Ooh, this is washing out now that I've made it bigger. But take out the stand and just think of the plant through the, you know, the potted part of it. Because originally I said, oh, this one's kind of cool, but that one's huge. I don't have time to do that. As it is, even this one's taking me time. So it's beautiful because in the sense of there's several colors for each leaf. So it gives it some variety, but there's several colors per leaf. So that takes time to stitch. Now, I didn't want to make it huge. I was concerned, and I think part of it was because I was thinking back to this one, thinking, oh, that's really, really big, when that's not the one I'm going to do now. So I actually pulled out, I don't know if you remember, but I had bought some 20 count white aida because I was contemplating doing a full coverage on it. And I said, well, let's practice some 20 count stitching, right? And so I pulled out some of the 20 count white aida, and that's where I am. I am using one strand on the 20 count, and I'm using the one strand loop method from, it's exit, video number 60, Needlebug. I'm going to write this down so I can link. She gives a tutorial on how to do one strand loop start stitching, and then you have a little tail that you just cut off at the very end after you've finished the strand. And I'm just using DMCs. That's what's called for. A lot of greens. I pulled, you know, I just pulled all of the greens that were for this whole pattern because I wasn't going to try to figure out in those. I feel like every DMC green known to man has been pulled out, but I've pulled out all the greens, and that's where we are. So the one strand stitching is a little bit slower for me just because I'm not used to it, and most of the strands are fine, but I was finding I do need to make it smaller lengths because I must pull too hard, and a couple times I shredded my floss kind of thing. So I'm learning, but I don't mind it, and this is pretty easy to do. So I am hoping, I have been trying to do about 100 stitches a day. So hopefully I can keep that up. And I have no idea how I'm going to fully finish that. I mean, I don't think Connor is going to judge how it's fully finished. Do you know what I mean? So I think I should be fine. But you know, you want it to look nice. I may just do kind of a rectangular kind of thing and work along that way. Last year's ornament that I made for both kids was a square. So, you know, kind of changing it up. All right, next one I have mixed feelings about. This is called Good Tidings from Jeannette Douglas Designs. I'm gonna bring it up so you can see. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. My problem is it is super, super, super fiddly. You just get going and you have to change a color. And so I'm finding it a little, I don't mind changing colors, but I don't necessarily enjoy just getting started and then having to stop again. Do you know what I mean? I like kind of a little bit more, more in my stitching blocks, not huge. They don't have to be huge blocks, but just a little bit more. But that's where I am. And I did give it a few sessions this week. This is 18 count. It's an unnamed fabric. It's pretty, but it was in my unnamed bin of little scraps. So I have no idea. It's a small piece, so I'm not sure where or how I got it. You know, it could be like something I picked up from 123 and I just lost some sort of label on it. But that's where it is. I mean, and that's the bottom. We're getting ready to go around the corner, and then, you know, probably goes about here. So it's small. I was thinking maybe, depending, I don't have a tree topper. If I have two options. I could either scrapbook it, or if I did it as, say, a wide piece, if at the top of the tree I laid it, you know, in front of the strands, the little piece of the tree that goes straight up. I don't know. I'm not sure how that would look. Honestly, I have to finish stitching it. It's not going to get finished this year, so I have plenty of time. I know on here it's shown several different ways finished. So there was different options. I think it was stitched 3 times for this finishing, and they have 3 different finishes on there. And I love, what drew me to it was this one right here. So pretty. You may see that as a trading card one day, because that's my favorite out of all of that, is that flower. And so that's what made me buy it. And that's why I started stitching it. I am using Called For's, the DMC alternatives. They use Classic Colorworks, Gentle Art, and Weeks Dye Works in it. And I just use the DMC alternatives. And I'm liking it. All right, next. Let me pull out here. The next one I had started last week, restarted, and so I wanted to do a little bit more, and I do have all the colors in now. So these are the 2 rainbow sampler or band samplers from Northern Expressions Needle Art. And you can buy them separately. You can buy them with specialty stitches, just X's the whole bit. And I am doing, and you know, I'm at the top, so we don't need to even show the full part of it. I'm doing this one. I do have both, as you can see. I bought it as, because you can buy them as a pair. And I would like to stitch both of them. And I just didn't like the fabric that I chose first time around. So I went a little bit darker, a little bit more on the black spectrum. It's a deep, I'd call it almost a charcoal. It is called Raven Black. Let me check my notes here. Yes, it's an 18 count Raven Black, and it is from To Die For Fabrics. And that's what I have. So that's the width. It always amazes me. It's super narrow. I mean, obviously then it goes way down, but that is it. And I want to say, yep, this color in the corner is done. So I do really, I like this better. I am pleased with the change. And I do enjoy stitching this one because you kind of just, you can pick one of your colors and just go. As you can see, I wanted to do everything across, and I may continue to just do that because after a while, I kind of feel like changing colors when I do things. I know a lot of people will stitch a band as they go, which makes sense, certainly. I probably said this before, with the specialty stitch section, because once you get going, you want to just keep doing the specialty stitches, right? With the X's, you know, after I've done a strand or 2, I'm kind of like, well, I can switch, you know, doesn't really matter, which is what I do sometimes. Okay, this one was also pulled out for categories. This is Serena Sprout, and it is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. And I chose it because man-made cauldron was the word I used. A cauldron is man-made. And so that's how I use my letter C for that. And ironically, if you have joined and you are going to do categories, you do not have to stitch on the piece that you say you're using that piece for. So if I had just started her and I was on her hat, that would be okay. You would just have to show a picture that there was a cauldron in the piece. But I actually, here we go. That's what it looks like total. I was kind of hoping to get this one done for the end of this year, but no, it's not happening. Because I know it looks like it's almost done. You're saying, well, Laura, just have that. No, I don't. There's a lot of stuff up here. There's butterflies, and there's some more over here, I think. There's like lots of little pieces, little bits right here, and then some back stitching. So it won't get done, but that's okay. I was working on the cauldron. I love the colors in this piece. That's what drew my my interest. I mean, I love Autumn Lane Stitchery's colors, how they use colors and how they are all blended, and it just always looks so beautiful. This is 18 count Honeydew Melon from To Die For Fabrics. And next time I pull this out, I might be able to finish. I've got parts of the flowers here. I don't know if they're roses or what they are done. So I have to finish those, finish the bottom piece there. I probably have a little bit more greenery, and then I can start tackling all the parts that I saved for another day. Do you procrastinate on some of those smaller bits and pieces? I do. I like to do all of kind of the main things. And to be quite honest with you, sometimes I do that because I like simplicity. If you were to walk through my house, it's decorated very simple. There's not a lot of stuff. It just happens to be what works for Mo and myself. And I kind of find that as I stitch more and more, that sometimes there's a little too many things in a pattern. And so I stitch all the main elements, and then I go back and I say, will this add, or is it just something there to be there? And sometimes, very often, it needs to be there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not looking just to get rid of things. But sometimes I feel like it doesn't really need to be there. And so I think that's what I'm saying, as opposed to me just procrastinating. I'm going with the idea that I purposely do it with the eye towards seeing what my final aesthetic is going to be. You know, hey, I can make it work. All right, next. This was part of my 3-piece rotation, and this one is, I'm going to go this way because you can see it better. This is Spring Quaker by Lila Studio. If you've been with me for a while, you know I've changed the colors on this one radically. I think it's beautiful, but I just wasn't feeling the browns. Not for spring. Spring is a time of regrowth and birth, and you know, everything is just exploding with the new leaves and colors. So I went greens and I changed it up. And that's where I am so far. This one, I love this fabric. This is 18 count Rose Hips from Under the Sea Fabrics. It was a fabric of the month this year. I've been on and off on Facebook, and I haven't looked lately because you don't always see everything. I feel like they're getting more and more like Instagram, but I don't necessarily always see the updates for all my groups. And I don't know if Leslie has decided yet which ones are going to be part of her line for next year. I'll have to go onto the group. If you go to Under the Sea Fabrics on Facebook, if you want to join them because you like their fabrics, she does give information about all that kind of stuff. And she will say, excuse me, what is available for, you know, completely being able to order, or if there's maybe just a special time frame to order some of these colors before she retires them. So what did I do? I did quite a bit, and it probably is not going to show up too much. I did quite a bit of the border, actually. I did a little across here, but this, I came all the way down, and I started across there. I'm, again, kind of procrastinating because I need to decide color, but down here, underneath that butterfly, is a bunny. But I think I do want to change the bunny. Right now, the bunny has got kind of like a sort of light gray outline, and it's a white bunny. And there's several bunnies. There's 4 in the total pattern. And they're all that color scheme. I'm thinking for those, I might want to do a nice light brown. So I have to kind of decide what colors I want to use, and there might be some trial and error. So I think until I get to the other side is where it has the other 3 bunnies. I may wait until I get to all of them and then kind of figure it out versus just right now. So because of that, I am doing other things. And so I figured I'll start bringing across here. This is probably at a page break. I didn't feel like doing that. So I did some of the border. I brought down this. And there is 2 ways to do this border. One is a specialty stitch, I believe. And then one you can just do straight X's. I chose to do the straight X's, and I'm kind of, there's a few spots like in the corners where you kind of have to make your own design. Oh, I have a little marker on my hand, so I better be careful. And so I kind of finagled it so it would match here and here, and then I'll be aware of that as I look on the other sides of it. But this one will go away now. This coming week will be Summer Quaker. And as far as I know, I do want to keep these rotations going. I will add, my New Year, New Start is going to be Fish and Chips by Long Dog. And I think I'd want to add that in and maybe have 4 pieces. So, you know, a 4 project rotation. And then, of course, if they fit in other things for categories or other games, I might be able to put them in places. But in order to keep them going, because at some point next year, I do want to start Autumn Quaker. I don't necessarily care if I have all of them started at once. That doesn't bother me. But it would be nice not to have just the top left corner of all of them done. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I can at least be halfway through spring and halfway through summer, whatever halfway looks like, that I'd prefer that. I would like that better than just having kind of little bits and pieces before I start the autumn. But I do like the autumn. I will rechart the words, but everything else I really love. So that's a 2024 goal. of mine is to get that one started. But we're back in 2023 still. So I've got two more projects to show you. All right, so this one for a friend from Hello from Liz Matthews. My ultimate piece of this is going to look vastly different than the beautiful piece that she has here. What I'm changing, you're going to see this completely squared off. That's because I made a mistake. That wasn't because I planned that way. When I was doing this, I knew I didn't want to do this outer edge border. So I've just got a really nice simple border on the inside part of it. But when I started it to cut my fabric, I didn't really pay attention that this came out the length of the border. I was thinking it was from there. So I had plenty of space. I could have still stitched this, but it would be very tight. This is going to be scrapbooked, not an issue there. But I was a little concerned about that. So that made me rethink the plans. What I'm going to do is I'm stitching this piece, and this is just squared off. And then this little piece is going to be stitched separately, and I'm going to place it with dimension on there, which I think is kind of cool because, you know, I like doing that with my scrapbooks anyway. So this is what I have. What was really funny, so this is 18 count Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. If you'll notice, Friendship Green by Stephanie, and I didn't use any this week, but Nantucket Sky by Stephanie. I kind of treat those as neutrals for me. You know how a lot of you like to do different types of beiges, and those are your neutrals. Friendship Green and Nantucket Sky are very much neutrals for me, and I love almost every pattern. You're going to see one that I changed my mind on for the last piece here, but almost every pattern I can find a way to make it work if I wanted to. But anyway, so I pulled this out, and for some reason, I clearly didn't look at it very closely because I didn't even pretend those flowers weren't there. I didn't look at it that closely thinking, oh, I'm done with this. I think maybe I just saw the full square. I'm going to start the little piece, which I did, and I started stitching that. I've just got to come down in here. So, another stitching session, not even a full stitching session, and that part will be done. And I was thinking, okay, I'll do that. Stitch in here, boom, it's done. I might get this finished by the end of the year. So I had done that, and then I went back to look, and I said, Laura, there's a whole bunch not stitched. I don't know what you did. So I came back and I stitched these 4, and I just did a little bit of the greenery here before I ran out of time on my stitching part that day, because I have a mistake here in this. It's one strand too short. It should be a little taller. So I was a bit concerned. I finagled just one stitch here on these and made it shorter. It works fine, but there's supposed to be leaves on each side here underneath these flowers. I'm going to stitch everything but those leaves, and I'm going to look at it. And if it looks okay, I'm not going to try to rechart, because then the leaves, they're skinny as it is. So if I try to rechart it and make it one strand skinnier, they might not look very good there. So in essence, that might not have any leaf underneath, but that's fine. But the long and the short is, this is not going to get done, I think, by the end of the year. But I think it'll be fun. So this piece here will get cut tightly around the borders. Well, I'll interface it first. I'll put the interfacing on there, bigger than the borders. Then I'll cut it nice and tight, and then I'll come over right up to the edges probably. And then here I will place it, and I'll either put a few layers of cardstock underneath, maybe comic book board, to pop it up, or I might just use mounting tape. We'll see. And that way that will pop up a little bit higher on the piece in the scrapbook than this. And so it'll look like a dimensional piece. So that's the plan. And I think that was a suggestion from one of you. So thank you very much. Oh, I did make a change because I used this fabric. I changed from 730 and I went to 305.2 for the greenery. And I think it comes out much nicer. This is charted, I want to say, in silks. Is it? I can't. And so there's first off a DMC alternative. Let me see. Yes, it's charted in silks, but there is a DMC. But that green was 730, which is a little yellowish. And on this, it wasn't really, it wasn't showing to its best advantage. Do you know what I mean? 730 is one of those tough ones because a lot of times with pieces that would use 730, I have changed the fabric from the called for. And a lot of times it clashes with whatever fabric I use. So I think I have a whole drawer of 730 floss. And I can't use it because I keep changing it. So I'm not buying any more 730 for the longest time. Now the very last one is for Beth. I hadn't mentioned Beth yet. You're like, how is that possible? How can you not mention Beth, the steadfast stitcher, in your videos? And I almost got through it, but Beth, nope. Happy birthday, or happy belated, right? Yesterday was your birthday. Happiest of happy birthdays. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I hope the rest of your year is wonderful. Celebrate all year. And so Beth has been doing 60 new starts for her 60th birthday, and she was finishing up with a stitch along, and she was asking if people would stitch a Rosewood Manor for her birthday kind of stitch along. Now, I'm going to say the hashtag, but I invariably muffle them up. So double check in the description box. I will check on Beth's site to make sure I have it right. I think it's hashtag Rosewood Manor B-Day-Sal, S-A-L. I think, but I want to make sure. So I always kind of have to, give that warning. But Beth is starting two different ones. One, she's starting Blue Rhapsody, but she's also starting, oh gosh, I don't remember the name of the other one, but two beautiful pieces. I don't know if they were both started for her birthday or not, but I cannot wait to see her stitch them. I chose Blue Rhapsody. It was between Blue Rhapsody and Green Rhapsody, and I ended up going with the blue. And remember when I told you last week, I had picked my two colors of blue. So let me pull those out because it's charted in, is it Weeks Dye Works? Yeah, Weeks Dye Works. And there is no DMC alternative, so I had to choose my own. So I kind of went to the charts, so on and so forth. They're messy because there's extra threads on them already. But 931 and 336 were the two colors that I chose. And I was going to do it on Nantucket Sky, so I'd have like blue on blue on blue. Well, I was really concerned that 931 would kind of fade into the Nantucket Sky. And what I didn't realize, because it looks dark, in fact, the lighter blue is actually more prevalent than the darker blue. And so I'm really happy I didn't go with Nantucket Sky, because then I would really have that worry. I went in a completely different direction. I looked at the cover page and I said, okay, that really looks nice to me. What will I do? And so I pulled out Darling David by Those Missing Stitches. Actually, I'm just going to fold this up. Well, look at this beautiful piece. Isn't that gorgeous? It's 18 count. Those Missing Stitches. I'm not sure if she's back yet. She took a little break on Etsy. I cannot wait. I'm going to have, I cut into my existing piece of Darling David, so now I have to buy some more Darling David. This is a gorgeous, if you're looking for like kind of the beigey neutral. I can only speak to 18 count because that's all I have, but I love it. I have my Librarian Sampler is on that one too. Librarian's House, it's called Librarian's House. And absolutely love it. So that's where I got my little tiny start. And what was so funny was I was watching Lost in Stitches Lisa, who finished Fish and Chips, by the way. Oh my gosh, she had 3 gorgeous finishes with this week's video. I know so many of you are probably watching Lisa because she's just incredible and her stitching is gorgeous. But if you're not, I'm going to link her down below. And she talked about, so I was watching her video, just came out. I think she had put it out within an hour I was watching it. I don't remember. And I said, what do I want to stitch? And I said, I'm going to start. This was Wednesday night. I said, I know Beth's birthday is not Wednesday, but you know what? I'm just going to start it then. And Beth encouraged us to start it whenever we wanted in December anyway. And I said, I'm going to start this and I'm going to watch Lisa because that would just be an awesome combination. So when we got to Lisa's plans, she mentioned, I believe she mentioned Beth's stitch along and that she was going to join and she was going to stitch Blue Rhapsody and she was going to do it on Darling David. And I just had to send her a message immediately and said, I cannot believe this, but guess what? I changed my mind and I picked Darling David. And so it's so funny. I mean, I'm not sure what floss she's using. I can't remember. Once I heard the Darling David part, I kind of just forgot everything else and just said, I have to send her a message right away. But, so it's going to be so much fun that I'm stitching along with Beth, and there's so many other people that are stitching Rosewood Manors to stitch along with her birthday. But now I also have kind of like that extra same fabric color that Lisa and I are doing. So it's going to be so much fun to see her stitching it. So that's where I am. And my favorite part of this whole piece is the butterfly. I think that's beautiful. I could see stitching that on its own. I think that would be a gorgeous stitch. And you could do any colors you wanted. If I had more space, do you know the butterfly that I showed you in my flip through that I haven't scrapbooked yet? And I'm going to do it with pictures. If I had room for one more butterfly or another stitched piece, I would stitch that and put that on the layout too. I'm going to have to see. I had so many pictures of the kids though with the butterflies that I want so many of them on there. So we'll see if I have room. But anyway, that's where I've started. What's even interesting is these four corners, I was just looking at them, are different. So it's just really cool that you're not even doing the same exact stitch 4 times, but it does kind of change up. So it's really kind of neat with that as well. And I will, as far as I know, I'm going to stitch the whole thing, but that's where I am, my little start. So I am really looking forward to continuing with this one. I think it looks pretty. I think the blues will look nice on this Darling David. And the more and more I get on there, I think it's just really going to look nice. So those are my stitches. That's what I've done this week. And yeah, like I said, next week's going to be busy, but I will set aside some stitching time as best I can here or there. You know, obviously there's times when you won't be able to, but I do make a point of at least 1 or 2 strands every day, just to kind of, that is kind of non-negotiable for me. Just to kind of have something, and I'm not going to say it yet. I'm not going to say it, whether or not I have stitched every day this year. We're going to have to wait and see at the end of the year if I do so. But I've really made an effort to try to give myself that little bit of stitching, even if it's the tiniest bit of stitching, just to say that I have done something just for me. Even if I'm making it for somebody else, which since I am, I really do have some stitching I have to do, right? Anyway, plans. What am I doing for plans? I'm hoping to do a floss miss a week. So not, not every day. Boy, whew, I watch those everyday videos, and the amount of work that must go through with those is just incredible. I don't think I could do that. But I kind of like my system of, maybe 1 a week. If there's a couple things I want to talk about extra and I have 1 extra, then it might be 2 in 1 week. We'll see. I think when I do my parade at the end of the year, that may end up as I don't remember. I haven't looked at the calendar. I might have timed it just right, but I'm not sure. The next one I do want to film is I'm looking towards 2024. And that one is going to be about my finishes, my full finish plan. And so we're going to pull out the drawer and we're going to do a deep dive into my drawer, my finish drawer. And I'm going to show them all to you. I'm going to talk about what my plans are potentially for finishing them. If I know, some of them will be up in the air. And I'm super excited because I probably haven't seen some of these projects for quite some time myself. So I don't even know what's in there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So at some point, I want to film that and put that out before you see me again next Friday. And then I'm looking forward to, I also do want to do a video of pulling out patterns that I'd like to stitch for next year. So I have to go through all my patterns. I think I need to make a mess. So I think I need to just pull them out, start putting things here, there, and the other, and deciding that. And that will be a video as well. But those are my 2 kind of planning ideas, with the idea that things always happen and come out, like new patterns come out. So there'll be new things that get started that aren't planned for at the end of the year, but that's okay. And then I am doing Bringo, so I do need to start getting that all set because that starts right at the beginning of the month. And I think I'm going to do the road trip for Whip Warriors, but I don't think there's any planning for that. So I think that can just go with my regular stitching, which is exciting. And then I am not going to do 12 by 12 for Christmas Eve because I never know what's happening Christmas Eve. I mean, I'm lucky if I stay up to midnight, to be quite honest with you. Half the time by 11, I'm like, all right, good night, Happy New Year. But I think I might do my own version of Whip Frenzy and just pull out, you know, say, okay, a minimum of 150 stitches. How many can I do Saturday, Sunday, Monday? New Year's, you know, the New Year's Eve is what? Sunday. New Year's Day would be Monday. I'll throw Saturday in there as well and see that weekend what I can do. And I might do that instead of kind of that official 12 by 12 because, you know, I want to get at least, Whip Frenzy is always at least 100, but I think I might give myself that 150 so that I can get, you know, a little bit more progress on things. So as we get closer, but that's what I am thinking about that for that New Year's weekend with that. I'm looking at my stitching planner. So I have a stitching planner that I use and I love it. It's part of the Commit 30 planners, journals, or whatever you want to call them. But I am doing quite a bit with, you know, different groups like Magazine Monthly Challenge and Whip Warriors. And every once in a while I want to do challenges in my own Facebook group. Plus Beth from Steadfast Stitcher, her Facebook group is called Crafts and Books, and she started doing acrostics. And so there's all these fun little things that can help you kind of get progress. And I enjoy doing them. I count stitches, so it's easy in that sense. But do you have anybody who does a lot of different challenges, prompts, whatever? Do you have a special kind of notebook, journal, whatever you want to call it, for challenges? They're not going to fit in my regular book, my yearly stitching book. Even though there's a lot of pages at the end, there wouldn't be enough for all of them. And so if you do, I'd be curious to see what you do. If you have pictures on Instagram or you've done a video, you know, YouTube video, I would love to see or be directed to something. Or if you have any pictures you would want to show me, I would love to see what you do because I'm thinking to keep track of all of them. Because I'm even just drowning in stitch-alongs, and I am not an Excel spreadsheet kind of person. I love to write things down. I love doing it in multicolored markers or pens or whatever. That's just me. And so I love that tactical part of it, and I love how pretty it looks. So I need something that is not digital, which I know the entire world seems to be going digital, and I'm not, but that's okay. It just has to be pretty. And it's kind of fun. I feel great satisfaction when I write things down. So anyway, if you have something like that, I would love to see it. I would really appreciate it. It's just kind of something because I'm looking towards the year and I'm feeling like I'm going to, if I have a plan as written down, I don't feel like I'll get overwhelmed, but I feel like I'll forget things and kind of drop the ball, so to speak. Not that anything is required. Well, to stay in Whip Warriors, it is required, but you know what I mean. Like this is a fun thing for me, right? But I just don't want to make it stressful. So any suggestions or help with that? Pictures are the best. They're awesome. All right, moving on. Happy Mail. I love this time of year for mail. If you remember last year, I actually did a New Year's card. I decided last year that with all the craziness, plus I just wasn't getting to it, to be honest with you, I was going to do a New Year's card and kind of wish you a Happy New Year for those who I sent. I'm not able to send to everybody, but I do I try to send to people, you know, like if you've sent me a card, I keep a list and type of thing. I do as much as I can, but I cannot send to everybody. But I have in the process been trying to plan next year's card. So I'm super excited to be getting mail right now. And then I figure January is kind of nice. It's quieted down, right? And then all of a sudden something comes in the mail. And my friend had a really good idea. Amy had a really great idea. And I think I pulled it off. We'll see. And so I have to kind of create the actual, I have to do digital and create the card, but it's very minimal digital. And so I'm excited. I hope it comes out what I'm thinking like, and that'll be a lot of fun. So that's all a long story to say. I got some really cute cards and I'm so appreciative. Of course, Stitching Owl, Karen, those are adorable. That would be the cutest cross stitch piece right there. That would be difficult to stitch and there would be a ton of confetti, but it would be beautiful. So speaking of Karen, I'm going to write down Karen's name. Karen is the Stitching Owl. I kind of mentioned that in passing. Karen is the queen of ornaments. If you want ornament inspiration, and not just Christmas, but ornament inspiration, you must watch Karen. I am going to say must here. You have to watch her because she does beautiful, gorgeous finishing work and beautiful stitching. Now, that's not all she does. She's got a full coverage going. She's got different things, but that is one thing I think that she's going to be known for, right? That just her ornaments are just divine and prolific. So you get to see lots and lots. But anyway, her channel is called The Stitching Owl, and I will link her down below if you'd like to watch her. Then, now I love glitter. Mo's so happy this is going to be up here. This is from Georgie. It's all glittery. He's not a huge fan of glitter, but I love it. I love it when you've got glitter all over your face and you just sparkle everywhere you go. That's beautiful. Look at the colors of that. Now, you know, I always talk about using cards, and not even cards, but just using other things, whether you see in a magazine or layouts. But look at those blues. If you were trying to do some sort of monochromatic piece, I would take this with my DMC card and I would start mixing and matching, and it would be gorgeous. So always think about what's around you for inspiration. And then this one is genius. I knew that Mandy is Mandy Parker. I should take this off so you can see the full thing. On, I was going to say Facebook. Well, she is, but on Flosstube. So Mandy has a channel. And if you watch Mandy this year, you would have seen her finish this. And she was talking about how she had an idea for a Christmas card. And how gorgeous is this? It's not Amy Stewart, is it? I can't remember who designed this. I don't know. I think it's called Mini Stitching Moon. I've watched Mandy do this every video, so you'd think I'd know by now. But that's her actual stitched piece made into a card. Isn't it gorgeous? I love, love, love that. Oh, I can't tell you, but I have an idea for something to do with this. I can't say right now, though. But that is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I love, love, love it. Thank you, Mandy. And then we have Linda. Those are adorable. I love them. Love, love, love them. I want to stitch the penguin one from Modern Folk Embroidery. That is in my list for 2024. In my needlework group, there was actually, I can't remember how old the gentleman was. Somebody had seen a story about a gentleman who was, let me see if I can find it real quick. How old is he? Australia's oldest man, 110. Whew. And he worries about being useful and helping other beings. So he actually knits sweaters for penguins. And I don't think, if I click this on, I have to show you. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? Each of them is different too. Anyway, I thought that was awesome. And that just made me think of it with the penguins. And then the very last one, Megan, you guys are so cute. I love these pictures when you showed, I love this one. You guys look fantastic when you showed it on social media. So I got to check. This is Georgia Girl Stitching, who I mentioned earlier is stitching Winter Gnome. She is also starting Fish and Chips on January 1st, the same time I am, and her color combo is gorgeous. And then there's a couple other pieces that she said that she's stitching next year that as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I was planning on that next year. Oh, I was planning on that. So I think you're going to see a few different pieces that are similar between our videos. And I can't wait. It's so much fun. All right. That's my happy mail. I loved it. I need to figure out, you know what I'm going to do? You can't see it right here. There's my shelf. The shelves I always talk about. Well, here's one of them. I think, because right now I have nothing on there, I am going to put my Christmas cards up there. That's what I'm going to do. So I can look at them every time I come in here. Alrighty. What do I have for shopping? I have a little bit of shopping to show you. I have a little bit of fabric shock, right? So let's get my fabric of the month out of the way. This was Under the Sea Fabrics, and it would have been for November. I think in December, Like I said, she doesn't do a specific one. She does open up some that you can buy. So if you do not want to see, I'm going to tell you to look away. Let me look at it's called Pea Flower Tea. I don't know what pea flower looks like, so I don't know if I'm giving that away or not. Look away if you don't want to see. I get 18 count. Isn't that pretty? That is so pretty. No clue whatsoever I'm stitching with it, but I think it's so pretty. So I'm going to put it down now so you can look back. So that was my fabric of the month from Under the Sea Fabrics. And then the other thing I got was a little bundle. Dying for Cross Stitch, Kathy, who she's linked down below in my description box, but she is one of the fastest hand dyers out there. And she, like for fabric of the month, a lot of times what she does is she just picks a color and you decide that month if you want to buy it or not. And it's a discounted price and so on and so forth. But she has tons of colors. If you do watch Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, she uses Kathy's fabrics quite a bit. She'll take a color and she'll do like a light, medium, dark. So, you know, you've got different levels with it. So anyway, she was having a Black Friday sale and she was doing bundles and different counts, you know, aidas, even waves, whatever. And they don't have names on them. It just says, this was just a blues and greens bundle fabric pack, she called it. Well, you know, if there's something that's blues and greens, right? I mean, that's like a given. I have to buy it. And I still hadn't found that opal fabric for fish and chips. And so I was still on the hunt for blue fabric. And this is very pretty. If for some reason I decide not to go with the opal, this would probably be a very strong contender. This is the bluest of the blue. Then we kind of go to gradations of green. Isn't that pretty? Boy, I'm looking at this. I need to do a floss toss, because I'm wondering if I want this one now instead of the other one. It's going to be a January 1st decision in the end. I'm looking to use white floche. One strand, well, it is one-stranded, right? I think it's one-stranded. It's something totally new for me. I'm starting off the year doing something totally different. And I'm thinking it might be pretty on this. I can talk myself in and out of things quite easily. Then we start going to the green, and this is the kind of the medium of the colors. Isn't that pretty? No idea what any of these are going to have on them. And then we go, it's not hunter, but it's like a deeper tealy hunterish green, deeper teal heading towards hunter. Isn't that pretty? Again, no idea. But the set of 3 was discounted, and I love greens and blues, right? And I'm so happy I got it, because this may happen. Stay tuned to January 1st. I also had bought a couple of digital patterns from a site that had been mentioned on one of Beth's Zooms, and then I forgot to get them all set for you. One was a cute little, it was an advent, and it had different houses for every single day. And they were cute. They're little tiny things. I thought they'd be adorable as little ornaments. I wouldn't stitch the whole big thing. They could be ornaments. They could be parts of trading cards. Because that's the thing too. If you have little pieces, you can mix and match patterns and make a trading card. And the theme is winter. So think about it. And then a couple other patterns, because the sale was crazy good sale. I don't know if it was a 50% or whatever it was. So I did pick up a few. And I had said to myself, I have to remember, because it's on my notes, and then I just forgot to go get them. So I'm not going to bother trying to scroll through that for you. You'll see them when I start stitching them. And that's it. That's what I've got for what I've bought. And I don't think I currently have anything coming, but that could always change. The way we work holidays here is I buy and I say, thank you, Mo. You were super generous and you picked just the right thing. It was funny because he was stressing the other day. He's like, I don't know what to get you for Christmas. I said, why are you stressing? Don't worry about it. I will take care of it. I know exactly what I want, and I don't need the surprise thing, especially if it's going to make you that stressed and worried about it. I mean, that's silly. I said, you know, you got your stuff that you needed and you're happy, and so we're good, which means I get to shop for myself. I have the fun of shopping, but I know it was kind of like as a little gift too. So you may see something because, you know, we're getting closer and leading up to Christmas then. And who knows? Who knows what you'll see. Alrighty, what do we have left? We have the giveaway, and then I'll do a quick wrap up because I'm talking a lot. So this week's giveaway was this pattern, which super cute. That is a kind of a fabric or fleece or whatever kind of pattern you want, piece of material you wanted on there, and that's stitched. So I asked you to say the word stocking, and I put everybody's names. Oh, I'm gonna do this because some of the pieces, I don't use pieces of paper that are new when I make these names. I recycle paper, and but then they get, sometimes I cut them really small. In this batch, I cut really small. So as I'm trying to mix it up, I can't grab the different pieces. All right, so if I pull a name out, oh, this is awesome. Because she's always generous in sending me stuff. Debbie, you won, and I cannot wait to send this to you. That's awesome. So congratulations, Debbie. I will send this off to you. Debbie is Glitter. Is it Glitter Dove Fairy on Instagram? Incredibly talented with pretty much every craft you can think of. So she's a lot of fun to follow on Instagram because you get a chance to see a lot of crafting, and it's all beautiful, every last bit of it. All right, so this week's giveaway, we're kind of going, you know, kind of winterish, but I was going through patterns, and a lot of you have seen this, so I'm going to keep it. It's nice and neat. It's like never been touched or out of its plastic, so I'm going to keep it right in there. It's called Give Greatly. It's from Silver Creek Samplers. Was it last year? Let me see if I... must be inside when you open it what the copyright is, but it's a recent, it's not too old. Look at the adorable little carrot on the sled, I guess, not sleigh, it's on a sled. I'm gonna ask you to say the word carrot if you'd like me to put your name in the blue bowl for this, and I will pick a winner next video. You know the rules. Please be 18. Please don't say giveaway or free. I would love it if you be a subscriber, but I'm not checking, and you do not have to be a public subscriber. That's just all on your honor. So anyway, I love this one. I think I have this one too for myself, and either that or I'm giving you away my copy. I don't remember. I didn't check, but that's okay. I've wanted to stitch this one. It's a lot. It seems like it's super cute, and so I thought I'd share it with you. So carrot, the word carrot. All right, so that is it for the stitching part. If that is all you're here for, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. I know it's crazy busy life-wise, plus lots of videos. So it means something special to me that you took the time to watch my videos. Thank you. All righty, so life-wise, it's just getting kind of busy. We had my... yesterday, so normally on Thursdays, if we can, depending on what people's schedules are, in my neighborhood, in my community, we have kind of like a needlework group. And so some people knit, some people crochet, some people latch hook, some stitch like I do. It's not, well, there's not that many. There's probably about 6 or 7 of us. It's not huge. I'm making it sound like there's like 50 people. But anyway, instead of meeting yesterday to do our craft, we went to lunch. And so we had kind of like a Christmas lunch, and that was really lovely. I enjoyed that quite a bit. It was just nice to get out and, you know, have just a little kind of chat time and have a little lunch. So I did that. I'm trying to think what else. What else? Was it this past weekend? This past weekend was beautiful. So I did go to the beach Saturday morning, I think, because I did take pictures for my New Year's card at the beach, which I did last year too, because I'm stitching by the shore, right? So we need to be by the shore. So I did take pictures there, or a picture there. So, but it was beautiful. It was 8:30 in the morning and December, and it just downright gorgeous. Didn't need a jacket, didn't need, I think I had a kind of a vest on because I thought it was cold, and it wasn't. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that it was nice. I think Mo and I ended up, what did we do? We ended up going downtown to Lewis. We did a little shopping. It was pretty. And then we ended up driving down to Dewey, and we had some lunch ourselves. So that was really very nice. And, oh, there was a big soccer game. So not only did Villa beat Man City last week, but they also beat Arsenal this weekend. So there was a lot of happiness in the O'Shea household. Other than that, oh, not much. Not much that I can really think of that was like super important. I know we did this, that, and the other thing. The kids are, you know, kind of figuring out their schedule. And then I'm pretty much, for Christmas, you know, I'm stitching those little things for them. But then what they want or need, I'm going to have them be a part of the process for gifts for them. So I'm not going to try to buy a bunch of things that they may or may not want or need. So that's how we're taking that. And yeah, so that's about it. I've just been, you know, watching Flosstube when I'm home, trying to watch some Hallmark movies, but I haven't watched a ton. I need to sit down and do that. I think I've just been so inundated with Flosstubes that I'm saying, well, I want to watch this, this, and this, and I don't get to the Christmas movies. So we'll see. If there's any really good ones out this year, let me know, because I a lot of times I follow different things that will tell me like different synopses of them, and I just haven't seen anything this year. So if you've got one you can really recommend that is new this year, because I've watched actually everything I've watched this year is from previous years that I really like. And so I just recently this week I watched the one where it's in Dickens, and they're doing a Christmas Carol, and, you know, he's kind of the movie star, and he has to come do this play, this serious play. I always like that. I like that one a lot, quite a bit. So that's the one I watched this year, but I haven't watched any of the new ones. So throw me some ideas for new ones that you would recommend. All right, that's it. That's all I got. So I'm going to let you go. I'm hoping this worked out okay. I hope you were able to see everything okay. You know, like everything else, it's a work in progress, but I just thought I have the pretty tree here. Why not take advantage of it? And I had already had a table already set up here because that's where I had filmed my Flossmas video this past week. So, you know, if I keep moving things back and forth, I might just wait, do this in December, and then go back to where I was before in January. So anyway, we'll see. But I get a chance to pull out my sweaters. I didn't overheat, thank goodness. And that's always a good thing. So we're going to end on that note. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're getting a chance to spend time with family and friends this season, whatever the season is for you. You know, whether you've celebrated Hanukkah, whether you're celebrating Christmas, whether there's another holiday that you happen to be celebrating. I don't want to misrepresent any of them, but there are lovely times and ways to celebrate with family and friends. I mean, friends can be family. And they can be online. You know, nowadays we can do something. Oh, that would be a lot of fun to have like a little Zoom Christmas party. But this is kind of this is all part of the friends and family, right? It doesn't have to be in person all the time. And so I hope you are getting a chance to do some of that, do something that just brings you joy, whether it's stitching or baking or coloring, whatever it happens to be, singing Christmas carols or whatever, you know, if you're, you know, in a choral sort of thing, whatever it is, I hope you're finding things that bring you joy. Well, every day, not just this season, but every day. Give yourself some time to do something just for you, because you are important and you matter. And until next time, happy stitching.